Have you ever wondered what would happen if the US Navy went head-to-head with Iran? It's a question that pops up a lot, and the answer might surprise you. Some experts argue that, in a hypothetical conflict, the US Navy would have already secured a decisive advantage before Iran even realized the fight had truly begun. How is that possible? Well, it's not about a single, epic battle on the high seas. It's about a multi-layered strategy that leverages overwhelming technological, logistical, and intelligence superiority. Let's break down this concept of winning before it starts. It's a modern military doctrine that focuses on crippling an adversary's ability to fight, often without engaging in direct, prolonged combat. Think of it like a chess game where one player removes most of the opponent's key pieces from the board before they can even make their first few moves. For the US Navy, this means targeting Iran's command and control systems, its surveillance capabilities, and its ability to deploy its own naval assets effectively. The first layer of this strategy is all about information dominance. The US military operates a vast and sophisticated network of satellites, drones, and spy planes. This network provides a real-time, comprehensive picture of everything happening in and around the Persian Gulf. They can track the movement of every Iranian ship, monitor communications, and identify key military installations. This isn't just passive listening, it's active intelligence gathering on an immense scale. Before a single shot is fired, US commanders would likely know the exact location of Iran's naval command centers, missile batteries, and key logistical hubs. This information is the bedrock of the entire operation, but gathering intelligence is only half the battle. The next step is to disrupt Iran's own eyes and ears. This is where electronic warfare and cyber warfare come into play. The US possesses advanced capabilities to jam radar, sever communication links, and even infiltrate and disable enemy computer networks. Imagine Iran's military leadership trying to issue orders, but their radios are silent. Imagine their radar screens going blank, or worse, showing false information, ghost ships appearing out of nowhere, while real threats remain invisible. This creates what military strategists call the fog of war, but it's a fog deliberately created and controlled by one side. Iranian commanders would be flying blind, unable to coordinate their forces or respond coherently to an attack. With Iran's command structure in chaos, the next phase would begin. Precision strikes. This isn't about carpet bombing or sending in ground troops. It's about using long-range, highly accurate weapons to neutralize specific high-value targets. The US Navy's carrier strike groups are central to this. A single Nimitz-class or Ford-class aircraft carrier is a floating fortress, a sovereign piece of American territory capable of projecting immense power. Each carrier is protected by a screen of cruisers and destroyers, armed with the Aegis combat system, one of the most advanced air and missile defense systems in the world. They can track and intercept hundreds of targets simultaneously, forming a nearly impenetrable shield around the carrier. From the flight deck of that carrier, squadrons of F-A-18, Super Hornets and F-35C, Lightning stealth fighters can launch. These jets, especially the F-35, are designed to penetrate sophisticated air defenses undetected. Armed with precision-guided munitions like JDAMs and cruise missiles, they can strike targets deep within Iranian territory with pinpoint accuracy. The targets wouldn't be random cities. They would be the very things Iran needs to fight a naval war. Command bunkers, communication nodes, naval bases, and coastal missile launch sites. These strikes would be swift, overwhelming, and aimed at decapitating the Iranian military's ability to direct its forces. Simultaneously, US destroyers and cruisers, as well as submarines, would be launching their own volleys of Tomahawk cruise missiles. These are long-range subsonic missiles that fly low to the ground, hugging the terrain to avoid radar detection. They can be programmed to hit targets hundreds of miles away with incredible precision. A coordinated barrage of Tomahawks could, in a matter of hours, destroy dozens of key strategic assets before Iranian forces could even react. The Ohio-class guided missile submarines are particularly terrifying in this scenario. Each one can carry up to 154 Tomahawk missiles, an insane amount of firepower hidden beneath the waves, ready to be unleashed at a moment's notice. Now, let's talk about Iran's naval strategy. Iran knows it cannot compete with the US in a conventional naval battle, carrier versus carrier. So, it has focused on what's called asymmetric warfare. Their strategy revolves around using a large number of small, fast attack craft, laying mines, and employing anti-ship ballistic missiles to try and overwhelm US defenses and deny access to the strategic Strait of Hormuz. These are legitimate threats, and the US Navy takes them very seriously. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps Navy is skilled in these swarm tactics, and their coastal missile batteries pose a real danger to any ship operating in the confined waters of the Persian Gulf. However, the US strategy is designed to counter this before it can be effectively implemented. The electronic and cyber warfare we talked about would disrupt the coordination needed for a successful swarm attack. The intelligence gathering would have already identified where these fast boats are based and where the missile launchers are hidden. The initial wave of precision strikes would be aimed squarely at neutralizing these asymmetric capabilities. The naval bases housing the fast attack craft would be targeted. The mobile missile launchers would be hunted down by aircraft and special operations forces. The goal is to dismantle the swarm before it can even form. Another crucial element is control of the undersea domain. The U.S. Navy's submarine fleet is second to none. Virginia-class and Los Angeles-class attack submarines are incredibly quiet and stealthy. They could operate undetected in the Persian Gulf and the Arabian Sea, hunting for Iranian submarines and surface ships. They can also lay mines in strategic locations to block Iranian ports or deploy SEAL teams for covert missions ashore. Their presence creates an invisible, ever-present threat that would force the Iranian Navy to be constantly looking over its shoulder, or rather, under its hull. Logistics is the unsung hero of any military operation, and here, the U.S. advantage is simply astronomical. The U.S. military has a global network of bases, supply depots, and transportation assets that can sustain a high-tempo operation for an extended period. Fuel, ammunition, spare parts, and food can be continuously supplied to forces in the region. Iran, on the other hand, would be largely isolated. If its key ports and airfields are damaged or destroyed in the opening hours of a conflict, its ability to resupply its forces would be severely hampered. A military, no matter how determined, cannot fight without bullets, fuel, and food. So, when we say the U.S. Navy has already won, it refers to this initial decisive pass. It's about achieving a state of paralysis in the enemy. By the time the sun rises on the second day of a hypothetical conflict, Iran's military leadership might find itself cut off, its primary weapon systems destroyed, its naval forces scattered and unable to communicate, and its logistical chain broken. They would still have soldiers and some remaining equipment, but their ability to wage a coordinated, effective war at sea would be fundamentally crippled. From that point on, any remaining Iranian resistance would be mopped up, not fought in a peer-to-peer engagement. Of course, this is all a strategic analysis. A real conflict would be unpredictable, costly, and tragic for everyone involved. Iran is a proud nation with a capable military that would fight fiercely to defend its homeland. There would undoubtedly be U.S. casualties, and the geopolitical and economic fallout would be immense, especially given the importance of the Strait of Hormuz to the global oil supply. This isn't a video game. It's a deadly, serious business. The point of this analysis is not to glorify war, but to understand the modern military doctrines that shape how potential conflicts are planned and perceived. The focus on preemptive neutralization of an enemy's war-making capability is the core of 21st century warfare. The U.S. Navy, with its unparalleled technological and logistical might, is perhaps the ultimate expression of this doctrine. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this breakdown interesting, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into military strategy and technology. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. See you in the next one.